Sherman Rosier here. Today we're going to talk about a good basic exercise that most people can do. That exercise is called a bridge. We're going to do a basic bridge. A bridge is great for many different things, and outside of working your hamstring, your glutes, also stretching out your hip flexors a little bit, working the low back. We're going to go through a quick demonstration how to do a bridge. And Sam here is with us today as a demonstrator. So the first thing we're going to do is look at the positioning. So we want to make sure that the feet are just a little bit wider than your hips, okay? You want to make sure that the feet are not too far in or too far out. Arms are going to be by the side initially. We're going to work on breathing and exhaling first. So we want to activate the core. First of all, you always want to activate the core no matter what exercise you're doing. Make sure the pelvic floor is stabilized before you start movement. So we're going to breathe into the nose and exhale out through your mouth. Activate the core, and as that's activated, we're going to lift the hips up off the table into a full bridge. And ideally, you want to have alignment between your knee, your hip, and your shoulder. Bring yourself back down. If you don't have that, that means you may have some weakness in the glutes or hamstrings, or tightness through your hip flexors, limiting that range of motion. If you do have tightness in your hip flexors, one thing you can do before doing the bridge is laying on your stomach, going into like a cobra stretch. And we can demonstrate that real quick for me, Sam. So coming into a cobra stretch, or if you can't really do a cobra stretch, let's go down to a modified cobra, just on your forearms for me. All right, and just hold that position. So she's pretty flexible, so if someone has tight hip flexor or tight anterior, they may not come into this full of a cobra. But the key here is to kind of lengthen out those hip flexors, anterior muscles first, if you have a hard time getting into a full bridge. So you do this for about maybe 60 seconds, just holding this position, and then turning back over and going into the bridge. You may get a little bit higher if you're not able to get that full range of motion initially. Let's go ahead and turn your back over. Okay. Other reasons that doing a bridge is very good. We do it a lot with most of our clients, basically because it's an exercise that addresses many different things. It addresses posture of the lower extremity. It helps, again, work the glutes, the low back. A lot of times people have what we call SI dysfunction or sacroiliac joint issues. A bridge is a good exercise to activate the muscles around those SI joints to bring them back into an alignment. Also working the low back muscles at the same time. And there's ways that you can progress during the bridge as well. So what we demonstrated first was just a basic bridge going up to hip extension. Okay, you're getting lengthening through the anterior trunk, activation through the glutes and the low back. You can go back up for me again. So you can work on doing this anywhere from 10 to 20 times, going up and down with a slow motion, keeping the core activated through the motion itself. And then once you're able to do that consistently, then you can just work on just holding a position for a length of time. Let's go back up to the bridge. Say you want to hold it for 10, 15, 20 seconds, ideally 30 seconds, maintaining that core engagement and glute engagement. So you're working on some muscular endurance with that exercise. And a progression from there is adding in arm movement with holding that position. So by adding in arm movement, what you're doing is adding in some instability to the exercise. So you have 2 points of contact of extra support. By taking away one of those points of contact, you're actually getting more instability, causing your trunk to work a little bit more through the exercise. Okay. So that would be like one progression. Another progression you can do is going just 1 foot off the mat, okay, and then bringing it back down and alternating sides, okay. So this is a little bit more advanced. This gets a lot more activation through the glute and through the low back and the hamstring on that side. And the idea is to make sure you keep your hips in alignment and not letting one side drop or fall, okay? If you're not able to do that through the movement, then you're probably not ready for this particular point of the exercise itself. And then we can do a combination of adding in foot and hand together, opposite arm and leg, okay? So it's like a marching bridge. And again, like looking at Sam, keeping the knee, hip, and shoulder in alignment as she goes through the motion. And again, make sure you're exhaling as you're coming up. With the exhale, more engagement through the core, stabilizing through the hips and spine. Okay, and good job, okay? So those are just some progressions for doing the bridge. But like I said before, the bridge is a good basic exercise that is good for most individuals. If you're working at a desk job, sitting most of the day, A lot of times you have tightness to your interior hips. This is a good way to alleviate some of that tightness going into a bridge. If you have low back weakness or glute weakness, this is also a good exercise you can do to help activate and strengthen your low back and your glutes as well. So that's your tip for the day, how to do a bridge and why the bridge is so, I guess, functional and important that you can add into your exercise routine. And then it's great, again, for most individuals.